What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It has been a hot minute, and today we're going to do something completely different. I have not uploaded a game in a hot minute, and the reason I haven't uploaded any games is because I've been super busy with work. So full-time, I'm a senior systems administrator and mainly networking, a lot of Cisco stuff. I've been deploying brand new FTDs across my enterprise. And no, I will not fix your computer, but let's dive into this today. I've got something a little different. Our rig, Apocalyptic, is up there on the wall, and for a while now, I've had version 2 of Apocalyptic planned with our new architecture here. We have I haven't done an update personally yet, but basically we've got the new ROG Extreme, the 670E right here, and then I'm going to be pairing that with the new Ryzen 750X. So this is the brand new platform, and then somewhere around here, right here actually, we got our RAM. So we've got 120 gigs going in Corsair, and of course it's going to be a fully water-cooled system, but I would be an absolute fool if we didn't test this machine first, right? So I don't want to put these mono blocks on. I don't want to put the block on the RTX. I am going to run a 3080. I bought that forever ago. And here's the thing. I'm actually really behind. I bought all of this pretty much brand new when this stuff hit the market. But I got really busy with work. And also, of course, your boy is going extreme. We're doing a custom build. I actually went with this CoolMaster 700 case right here. It's the master frame, and as you can see right here, you basically got your main board right here, and then you can put, like, you know, whatever components, your pump, blah blah blah, a radiator here and a radiator there. So what I'm planning on doing up on the wall there is basically it'll be the same design, except for on the left and the right side we'll have two rads. So with the two rads, I'm going with an X-Flow on those by OC Cool. Here is one of the guys right here. I've got the other one in the box, but as you can see, there's one of the wing panels. Now, what's cool about this CoolMaster kit is that it also doubles as a test or workbench. So what we're going to do right now is we're actually going to set that thing up into the workbench configuration. I'm not going to get into the whole plans. I'm actually underneath here is a whole brand new, I'm going to custom laser cut a brand new panel that is going to specifically fit this, and then I am doing a EK distribution block that is typically used for the Lee kits, and it allows you to basically do the whole parallel piping. It'll be a little different with the mono block here, so we'll have some things to figure out. This is going to be a long series, but I am going to start working. So I went out to Best Buy last night and I picked up a new M.2 2TB. I went with Gen 4 because Gen 5, thanks to the Linus Tech Tips, I'll link the video below. But technically, Gen 5 and Gen 4, there's still some limitations. Gen 5 is, after a certain amount of idle, the random read-write cache is just not there. And even the Gen 4 suffered from it. So to spend the money on it right now just wasn't worth it. So I went with the Gen 4 for now. 2 terabytes on the OS is what we're going to do. And then, of course, I'll add another probably 2 or 4 terabytes just for my gaming. I usually use about 1 terabyte total for gaming. And then as far as like video editing and everything else, I run off my NAS right here. So my NAS then uploads to the cloud, and I've got almost 40 terabytes right there, and then I've got 40 terabytes of the business Dropbox. So that's how I cover all my main data, and then that's a 2.5 gig network direct to my computer here, and then I've got a gig network here at the house. So we got the hard drive, the SSD, and then I picked up just a quick hypercooler, so that it's got something on here. One of the biggest things that happened that stopped me from this build, let's talk about it for a quick minute. Real quick, when Asus came out with the Extreme board for the brand new Ryzen AM5, basically there was a fiasco that happened with the VRAM controller. VRAM, I don't know if it was VRAM or the V chip that controls the actual voltage to the CPU, and guys were literally popping their CPUs. It's pretty crazy. Gamers Nexus covered the whole freaking thing. He ended up buying a couple of the boards, or one board from a gentleman, where it just basically completely failed on him. And we're talking full hardware failure, burnt the chip. Yeah, so like when that kind of happened, I was like, all right, I'm not building my shit until I figure out what's going on and why this is happening. Long story short, you can watch, I'll put the Gamers Nexus series below, and even JayzTwoCents actually dropped Asus as a sponsor because of the whole fiasco. It was kind of a big deal. But it's kind of blown over now, and finally Asus has actually fixed the problem through firmware updates, thank God. So, we need to get this thing online, we need to see if it's gonna post, get the OS installed, and then we're gonna get the latest firmwares on here, so this thing is ready to go, and then we're gonna start all the water cooling, the measuring, and all the fun stuff that we need to do to actually make this custom build come to life, and get her placed up there for Apocalyptic version 2 going on the wall. So, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna unbox the rest of this guy here. We're gonna set up the test bench, and then we're gonna start putting it together. I'm just gonna time lapse this part, you know, for building. I don't think you guys wanna hear me talking. You don't wanna watch this. I mean, this intro already, we're already at almost 6 minutes. I've been talking forever. So let's get to this. So, a little bit of time lapse there. We got this thing going. I was actually kind of low-key panicking because I thought off camera I found the pack, but at some point I was smart. I knew I had it somewhere. I just didn't know where the hell it was, but here's all the actual bolts for this whole kit right here. So I swapped out these guys. We used some silver ones that I found from another PC build that I did back in a while ago, but yeah, so we got that together. So we've got our test bench ready to go, and everything looks good. It is nice and sturdy actually. So what I'm gonna do now is we're gonna open up this bad boy, which of course, first time you guys are seeing it, right? Woo. She's pretty. She is pretty. And let's go ahead. We're gonna get her. We're gonna seat the CPU, obviously, and then we are going to get her on the board. I need to look at the instructions real quick, so I'm going to open this guy as well, just to kind of check. I'm pretty sure it's these two screws removed. I don't know if I have to hold it or not. I actually haven't mounted AM5. I don't think it's much different. That's an AM4 right there, so I think they're the same, to be completely honest. So I'm going to work on that next, and then we'll get her mounted over here. I'll leave my cool headlamp on, so I'm just gonna intercut here. First off, it's the next day, obviously. I got super busy. The lady came down and we went to dinner that night when I was getting all this ready. Anyways, we've got the kit open here, and I gotta be honest, their instructions for this is not very clear cut. While they tell you that you're basically using the R screw, the packaging, CoolMaster, you guys didn't put like an R on here. That would be cool. I don't see any visible marking R on here. And then same with the plates. So of course, Gamers Nexus did a review on this. Thank you, Gamers Nexus. Kind of got it figured out for the most part, but it should be pretty simple. So I'm gonna switch back over to the time lapse. We're gonna throw in the processor itself, and then we are going to just, because this is a test too, by the way, just to make sure the components work, I'm just gonna use a supplied thermal paste. But we will be definitely using something else when we install the water block, something better, much better. I'm not sure what word I was going for there. Anyways, back to the camera. Okay, so we've got the CoolMaster installed. As you saw, I had a little bit of issues. I couldn't remember how these damn pins went on, and then I had installed this bracket facing the other way, so it wasn't aligning up, but we are good to go there. And before anybody says anything, I still believe that applying thermal paste in an X pattern with 4 little dots on the adjacent sides of where the X is actually at is still the best way to apply the thermal paste and get an even coat all the way through, especially once you crank these guys down. So we're good to go. I was going to install the fan on this side. You might have noticed that, only just because I was worried about the RAM. We're going to be in an open air test bench anyways, so wherever the heat's going is not going to matter, but we're going to go ahead and try it since I do have 4 sticks. If not, we'll just quickly adjust this guy over here. So pretty easy to install, obviously. We're going to get this guy mounted onto our test bench now, and then we'll get the rest of our components installed. Alright, so the GoPro died, so because of that, I'm just going to use this camera for the moment. But I forgot, it's been a while, that there's actually 3 PCIe slots here for M2 PCIe slots. The first 2 being Gen 5, but then also the board comes with this new Gen Z PCI, which supports a PCI, or I keep saying PCI, an M2 Gen 5 and an M2 Gen 4. If we utilize these 2 down here, it will take off our times 16 on the graphics card here, so we definitely don't want that. So I'm going to put this board back on here, and I'm going to go ahead and just install the OS. Even though I did get a Gen 4, I'd mentioned that before. There's no point for a Gen 5 right now. In my opinion, I think the speeds are minimal. The random read-write cache is where you're going to lose the performance, really. So we're going to go ahead and utilize this for airflow purposes, and we will install this Gen 4 on the, I'll probably put it on the Gen 4 side. Makes sense if I decide to get a Gen 5 later point, and then I could just easy, good to go. And then of course I still have room for like another 4 terabytes or something if I want to upgrade. I don't really need that since, I mean, shit, I normally just off my rig right there, I'm using a terabyte, and it's usually just fine on my OS. And then, like I said, my games don't exceed 1.5 terabytes. So, you know, having 4 terabytes and 2 terabytes here, that's going to be plenty for me. Like I said, we've got the NAS over there. Otherwise, that handles everything else for long-term cold storage. But yeah, let me button this back up, and let's get this guy opened and get this guy installed, get our RAM installed, and then get our RTX installed. Alright, so we've got everything hooked up. We've got our power supply out now. I went with the EVGA 1200 SuperNova. Should be plenty of power. I had to research a couple things. Again, it's been a long time since this board has been out of the box that I've even looked at it, but right here you've got your typical motherboard, 24 pin, but then they've got an added PD power is what they're calling it. And apparently if you don't have this, you're not providing a full 60 watts to the PCIe slots, which cool, probably going to come in handy as far as overclocking this guy. So I went ahead and did it. I had to do a little research. Just use a typical VGA connector. So the 3080 Ti uses 3 8 pins. This guy is definitely loaded and supports up to 6, so definitely would be SLI ready, but SLI is a thing of the past. So we've got plenty of power here. Got both our CPU 8 pins, got our motherboard, and then we've got room for peripherals and other good stuff like that. At the end of the day, we probably won't be, I don't think we're going to have anything that we need to utilize peripherals for, and then I don't think we're going to have anything for SATA, since I'm going to keep everything M2 directly on the board. So I'm going to take her right now. The wife is going to help me. She doesn't know it yet, but she's sitting there, so she's going to help me. I'm going to move this. She's going to take the camera as I move it, but we're going to move it over to my test bench area. Hook up the power cords, hook up the power, and cross your fingers, we get a boot. House. Come on, house. just make sure all the cables are out of the way here. Ows.
Ows.
Alright. Cool. Easy enough. We'll feed our cables through here. Feed them through that down here. And then I just need to make sure, of course, all my cables are all nicely routed. So, give me a second. I'm going to route some stuff back up through because I don't want to put this on the floor during testing, especially since we are going to basically be, the main purpose of really testing, one, to test before we go to water blocks, right? And then two, there is a firmware for this motherboard that's absolutely needed before we ever even play with OC on this board. Otherwise, goodbye processor and goodbye board. So definitely don't want that, especially I was one of the idiots that bought the damn thing at full price, so $1,100. Yep, that's hard to swallow, and it's only like $690 now. So it is what it is. Tomato, tomato. Let's go. Alright, scary part. Can I see the... So, this should be interesting. Here we go. Moment of truth. Oh boy. She's booting. Probably would have helped if I looked at what this was set to. Display port. Oh boy. We got on the that code 15, Q code 15. All right, so Q code 15, as you can see here, it's now moving. I did not power down or anything of that nature. Q code 15 is actually basically optimizing the RAM. So you can see she's still going through. So she's doing tests on the RAM right now, and hopefully we'll see a post here soon. Looks like we've got a white light up there. We're seeing 42, we're going green. Oh, I'm seeing activity. There she is. Woo! Clean hardware, ladies and gentlemen. All right, something I forgot about on this board too. If you guys can see it right here, you've got the actual panel. Remember I was saying that was doing memory tests. It actually says it on there, which is pretty cool. I had forgotten about that status, but Q code is now 98, which is good. We've just got this screen hooked up. Let's see here. Press N, enter setup, F1. Boom, here she is. All right, what are we looking at here? So, BIOS information, we are on version 0705, so that's from 22. So definitely there's brand new with all the bullshit that's going on. So first and foremost, let's just check everything else real quick. Cool, memory is already reading at 3600, which is great. Everything looks healthy over there. Temps seem okay. This is a hot processor for that little guy right there. But that should do just fine. What I don't see. Cool. And it sees our 2TB Pro in there on our new Gen Z board that's right here next to the RAM. Pretty cool. I like that. So yeah, safe to say, guys, this thing has posted. We are good here for a bit. Let's get this thing upgraded first and foremost. Obviously, the graphics card is being recognized, or we wouldn't have output here. So Sweet. All right, so we've got our BIOS in here, the new latest update, and I'm going to use the flashback system to actually get this done. What's nice is this thing is actually showing me the progress right here on this stage, and you can actually do this on these boards without, I didn't even need to install the CPU. I could have actually flashed this, but obviously we need to test every component anyways before we put the mono block on here and get our water block on the RTX here. So, all right, BIOS went through, and we are successfully on the latest build. I believe for now, this is where this video is going to end. Right now, what that basically means, let me fix that, whoa, and we're zoomed in. Let me go wide. Woo. All right, so at the time of this recording, it's Halloween evening, almost night, so I'm gonna stop right here, but basically we've got everything done. I planned on installing the OS just to mess with it, see what it was doing on air. I know that cooler is not going to be able to handle that beast, so not really sure I want to do benchmarks, but we might, just for the fuck of it, and see what happens. But yeah, next would be installing our EK mono block on the motherboard, and then we've got an EK block for the 3080 Ti as well. So that will be potentially the next episode, I believe. And then we've got some work, now that the bench is off here, we've got some work yet on here. It is super bright. Let me turn this down for you. So we've got some work here. This is version 3 of this plate. So basically, and just in case you guys haven't, are not aware of what the idea or plan is, I'm taking these fins and having placing the radiators on there, but we are building a new custom centerpiece that will have a built-in EK water block that will basically be our reservoir and pump combo all in one, and then we'll have 2 rads, X-Flow rads on the sides, and if you can picture it, flat piece in the center and 2 rads on the side of the wall. Should end up looking good since it's a corner piece, pretty much exact same style, different. Just the motherboard's going to be pretty much centered now, and then the power supply will actually be mounted in the back. So minimal cables, minimal looks, 2 big ass 420 radiators, X-Flow. They will all my fans are actually down here. So yeah, lots to come. We'll talk about it as we kind of go. This video is probably decently long. Don't know, I'll see in the editing. But as always, hit that like button, subscribe. Check me out on Twitch if you haven't already. It's twitch.tv/MrToX M8. Links are below as well, or up on the screen right now. Everything's, yeah, that all helps out. And then there's Discord if you want to follow along in my gaming tech channel on my Discord. Go watch Joe Rogan and Elon. That just dropped today too. Peace.